In this video, I will review the Unit 1 assignment description. For the rest of the units, I may or may not include a video that goes over the assignment description, but I wanted to review this one with you guys to help you understand how to read and follow the assignment descriptions. So every unit, so for this class, there are 5 units, and each one will have an assignment description. So at the top, you'll see the title of the unit. So this is Unit 1. We're going to write a resume and a cover letter for this unit. At the top also, right below the title, you'll see the things that you will turn in to complete the unit. So for Unit 1, you'll turn in your resume, your job letter or cover letter is the same thing, and a copy of the job ad. So by the time you're watching this video, you should have already chosen an ad to use to write your resume and your cover letter. Next is the writing task. So basically this is just the top level overview of what you have to do. So for this assignment, you're going to use the job ad that you found to write a resume and a cover letter. For this assignment, you can use Microsoft Word or Google Docs, but for either program, you will save your final document that you want to turn in. You're going to save it as a PDF. I ask you to save it as a PDF because that helps to make sure your formatting stays the same when I look at it versus when you look at it. Sometimes with Microsoft Word or Google Docs, the formatting can look different on different computers. But if you save it as a PDF, that ensures that I see it the same way that you see it. The next thing that you'll see on all of the assignment descriptions is the audience. So the very important thing about writing, no matter what you're writing, whether it's a text message or an email or a Facebook post, whatever, you always have to consider your audience. So it probably goes without saying that your audience and how you write to a person who you would like to hire you for a job, you're going to use different tone, vocabulary, even punctuation than you would use just writing a text message to a friend. So for each of your assignments, I am going to tell you who your audience is. This is a technical writing class, so basically you can just presume that everybody that you write to will be a person, in a business setting. But specifically for Unit 1, your audience is going to be the person who is going to decide to hire you or not. Each of the assignments has a level of like pretending, or you have to imagine that you are writing this thing for a specific person. So keep that in mind throughout the class. You have to kind of pretend like you are already applying for a job, or you can also write your documents to apply to a job you want to get, next month or something. Either way is fine for this assignment. But regardless, you have to always imagine that, okay, this person that I'm writing this to is actually going to read it, and I have to write in a way that is appropriate to communicate with this specific audience. So again, your audience can be your friends, your family, your audience on TikTok, but in this case, your audience is the manager who is going to decide to hire you or not. So that's a very basic overview of audience, but if you keep that in mind throughout the course, you will probably do pretty well. Next, how to complete this assignment. So I have listed out the 6 steps that you need to follow to complete this assignment. And there's also a video that's linked to show you how to highlight the parts of your resume and cover letter. So for Unit 1, you're going to turn in a first draft and then a final draft. So you'll turn in the first draft. I'll take a look at it, give you feedback since it's your first major assignment, and then you'll fix the things I tell you to fix, and then you'll turn in your final draft. The final draft is what will count as your grade for Unit 1. And you can see how Unit 1 is weighted on the syllabus, and you can see all of the other weights for all of the other units. But basically for Unit 1, you get kind of like 2 tries in order to do your best on this assignment. For Units 2, 3, 4, and 5, you will just turn in 1 draft, most likely. Sometimes there are circumstances where I may give you guys like several times to try it in, but to turn it in. But for the most part, for Unit 1, you get a first draft and then a final draft. For Units 2 through 5, you'll just turn in your final draft. Okay? Alrighty. So, for your first draft, you're going to highlight the parts of the resume, and the cover letter that I tell you to highlight basically. I ask you to do the highlighting because I really want you to understand specific parts that belong on the resume and the cover letter. So when you watch this video, I'll explain more about that, and you can email me if you have questions. Again, this is just repeated, but basically for the first draft and the final draft submissions, please arrange all of your content into one file. So your resume on the first page, your letter or cover letter on the second page, and then a copy of the ad on the third page. Please save them together and submit them at the due date, and incomplete submissions will not be accepted, meaning I will just assign a 0 if the submission is not complete. So you need to turn in all 3 things for both the first draft and the final draft. So get into the good part. So this Unit 1 assignment description also includes a rubric. So again, here are your deliverables. These are the things you're going to turn in. And then here, I'm going to go over the resume content rubric, the cover letter content rubric, and then visual design and format, style, and editing for both documents. I am going through this because one of the reasons that students don't get a passing grade on this assignment is simply because they do not follow the directions in this rubric, or you can also call it a checklist. And it's pretty simple to just follow these things. So the things that you see highlighted in green are things that should be highlighted on your first draft. And again, I go through how to highlight your documents for your first draft in this video. So for your resume content, job descriptions contain keywords from the job advertisement. So all of this will make more sense after you watch the videos that are linked in the week 3 at a glance document. But just basically, your resume and content, the words on your resume and cover letter, should contain keywords from the job advertisement. So that's basically 1 and 2. I'm not going to read all of these to you guys because the video will be too long. At least 3 job descriptions contain quantifiable information related to your responsibilities. Quantifiable just means something that you can count. So for example, managed 3 departments or 3 people, increased sales by 23%, something like that, something with some numeric value. This is the biggest one. I'm actually going to bold this one for you guys. All bullets need to begin with an action verb. So your resume needs to be written using bullets. Do not turn in a resume that's written in paragraph format. You can have a summary at the top, but under the job descriptions where you describe what you did at each job, it needs to be arranged in a bullet format. If it's not, it will not receive any points. And each bullet needs to begin with a verb. So we remember from grammar school basically that a verb is an action word, like manages, leads, consults, things like that. So this is so easy to fix. So make sure that each of your bullets begin with a verb. Okay. And this is another big one. Your resume should be one page and your cover letter should be one page unless you have more than 10 years of work experience. I know that that may apply to some of you, sometimes to not all of you, but make sure if you have only had like one job, two jobs, or worked at a place 5 years, you just need one page for your resume and one page for your cover letter. But make sure to read everything else. I'm just kind of hitting the highlights. So for your cover letter, you need to include the entire address. This is the biggest mistake that I see, that folks don't include the entire address. Please just make up an address. If you don't know exactly what the business's address is for your own address, just make up an address. You don't have to include your own address, but it needs to show the complete information that you see here. The other big thing that people usually mess up with the cover letter is they don't include all of the content. So you need at least 4 paragraphs: introductory, education, job experience, and concluding. So do not turn in a 2-paragraph cover letter. It will be incomplete and will not receive all of the points. Okay, so make sure to read everything else, but just wanted to go over those things. And lastly, so let's look at visual design and format and style and editing. So all of the content needs to be consistent. You need to use at least 11 to 12 point font. So that means, like, for example, this text up here is Arial and it's 10-point font. It looks bigger on the screen because it's zoomed in, but you need to use a font that is easy to read, like Arial, Helvetica, so forth. And then the size of it needs to be at least 11 to 12 points, except for your headers. Your headers can be much larger. Let's see. Okay, I think that the rest of that is pretty self-explanatory. And then for style and editing, the big two, again, make sure that you use action verbs. I have provided a link to a website that includes like 195 or so action verbs. Make sure to go there. You can pick some out. It makes writing so easy. You don't even really have to think about which ones to use. You can just go to that link and take some ideas from that link. A parallel list. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. So that just means that for your bullets, each of them begin with a verb. If you remember that, then your list will be parallel. And we'll talk more about what a parallel list is in the future too. But if you can just make sure all of your bullets begin with a verb and they're in the right tense, then you will be good to go. Okay, So I don't want the video to be too long, but I did want to kind of walk you through going over this assignment description. So I hope that this video was helpful. Make sure to email me if you have questions. Have a good day.